This happened to me last winter, not long after I had moved into a new apartment across town. I was 22 at the time, living alone for the first time, and still getting used to the quiet. My building wasn't huge, just 3 floors, but it always felt a little too empty, especially at night. It started on a Friday evening. I had just gotten home from work and tossed my bag on the kitchen counter when my phone buzzed. At first, I ignored it, assuming it was just another notification. But when it buzzed again, I checked it. Unknown tracker detected moving with you. I remember staring at the screen for a few seconds, trying to process it. I had heard about things like that before, people slipping tracking devices into bags or cars, but it always felt like something that happened to other people, not me. I laughed it off at first, convincing myself it was probably a glitch. Still, I checked my bag, my coat pockets, even my shoes. Nothing. I tried to forget about it and went on with my night. I made dinner, watched some TV, and eventually went to bed. But that notification stuck in my mind longer than I wanted to admit. The next morning, I got the same alert again. This time, it said the device had been moving with me for several hours. That's when the uneasiness started to creep in. I spent nearly an hour searching everything I owned. I emptied my bag completely, shook out my clothes, checked every corner of my apartment. Still nothing. I even checked outside my door, like somehow it could be sitting in the hallway. I didn't find anything, but the feeling didn't go away. Over the next few days, the notifications kept coming. Every time I left for work, every time I came back home, always the same message, always the same vague tracking warning. It got to the point where I started taking different routes home, just in case. I'd stop randomly, double back, even sit in my car for a few minutes before going inside. Nothing ever changed. The alert followed me like a shadow. By Tuesday night, I couldn't take it anymore. I decided I was going to find it no matter what. I brought my phone close to everything, my furniture, my car, even the walls, waiting for that signal to get stronger. After what felt like forever, I finally heard it. A faint, high-pitched, chirping sound. It was coming from somewhere near my front door. My stomach dropped. I moved slowly toward it, barely breathing, and knelt down near the small table I kept by the entrance. The sound got louder. I reached underneath and felt around until my fingers brushed against something smooth and circular. I pulled it out. It was a tracker. For a second, I just stared at it, my hand shaking. The realization hit me all at once. This thing hadn't just been following me. It had been inside my apartment. I didn't know how long it had been there. I didn't know who put it there. And worst of all, I didn't know if they were still nearby. I didn't even think. I grabbed my keys, rushed outside, and threw the tracker as far as I could into the street. Then I ran back inside and locked the door. I barely slept that night. Every little noise made me jump. Every creak in the building sounded like footsteps. I kept checking the locks over and over again, like somehow they would change if I looked away. The next evening, I got home later than usual. I had stayed at work just to avoid being alone. When I walked up to my apartment door, something felt off immediately. It was unlocked. I knew I had locked it that morning. I always did. I froze there for a moment, staring at the handle, trying to convince myself I was overreacting. Maybe I had forgotten. Maybe I was just tired. But deep down, I knew. I slowly pushed the door open. Everything looked normal at first glance. Nothing was out of place. No broken furniture. No signs of a struggle. But the air felt wrong, like someone had been there. I didn't step inside. I couldn't. Instead, I backed away and pulled out my phone, ready to call the police. That's when I heard it. A faint noise from inside. Not loud, not obvious. Just the sound of something shifting, like someone adjusting their weight. I didn't wait to see what it was. I turned and ran down the hallway, my heart pounding so hard it felt like it might burst. I didn't stop until I was outside, standing in the cold, shaking and trying to catch my breath. The police came and searched the apartment thoroughly. They didn't find anyone. No forced injury, no clear evidence of a break-in. Just an unlocked door and a terrified report. I ended up moving out less than a week later. I never went back after that night. And I still think about one thing I noticed just before I ran. The closet door in my bedroom. It had been slightly open.
I always kept it closed.